Okay, now all you need to do is in front of the little dot or the note, you just write the number 2 in front of 2. If it's 6, I put a 6 in front of it. If it's a 5, I put a 5 in front of it. And by doing that, I'm numbering the music. And once I number the music, I've converted the dot to a number code that I can make some sense out of that's simple. And then I should be able to put that on a keyboard and start playing it right away. You can do this with any piece of music, okay? So now, very quickly here, before I give you this other sheet of paper, I'm going to show you that this whole thing is right brain. There is, the brain, once it understands the idea of odd and even, and it can separate these ideas of odd and even, you can actually stop thinking. You can actually totally suppress the ego all together, and we don't have to even think about these number patterns. It will happen. Your eye is capable of recognizing the size of something. Now, if you're a carpenter and every day you work with inches, and you realize, like I had a long time ago, that my thumb happens to be exactly 1 inch wide. I happen to be a 6 foot tall Scottish man. The King of England, who all the weights and measurements were taken from, was a 6 foot tall, 200-pound king. And it turned out that from here to there was 9 inches. And 2 of those is an 18-inch, and they call that a span. So when the builders are building, they'll often go like that and go, oh, there's a span between the joists, 18 inches, when we're building a house. Okay? If I want to measure the size, I can go like that. There's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3, 4, that's 5 inches across. So that's supposed to be 5 inches. Then I can go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches down. So this is 5 by 8. And I can now, not only can I do that, but after a while I get used to that inch being my thumb, and I can look across the room at something like one of those windows and say, that window over there is 22 inches wide. And even though it's far away and it's been made smaller because of its distance, in my head, I can adjust for the distance. They call it scaling. So it doesn't matter how big the numbers are on the paper or how small the music. If the music is written really tiny, I still be able to see the interval of a third. No matter how small they write the music, it's going to look like a third. And if they use big note Liberace type music, the distance is still going to, I can scale in my head automatically with no problem. Okay? We have that ability built into us. So what I'm going to do is show you here some notes. And these notes, these interval distances, are all going to be only odd numbers. So we're only going to have 3 numbers. We're going to have intervals of a third, we're going to have intervals of a fifth, and intervals of a seventh. And what I want you to notice about these is not the number as much as the distance. I want you to look at it in terms of size. If it's small, it's a third. If it's really big ass distance, it's probably a 7. And if it's middle, so this is like this is like Goldilocks and the 3 bears, all right? Take a look. If this bottom note were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is the distance of a 5. Okay? Here also, you see that is the distance of a 5. Now, one way I know it's a 5 is it goes from a space to a space, a space to a space, and if it goes from a space to a space, if it looks even, it's almost always an odd number. So this is an odd number, and I want you to get this size, 5. Now, if it's smaller than that, it's going to look like this. And that's a 3. Can you see that's a third, right? And if it's bigger than this, then it's a 7. Now take a good close look. In the third, you'll notice they're stacked right on top of each other like snowmen. With the fifth, whether it goes from a space to a space, there's a space in the middle. If it went from a line to a line, there'd be a line in the middle. There's always in the fifth something in the middle. And in the seventh, you'll notice that here it's going from a line to a line, so there are 2 lines in the middle. And if it went from a space to a space, there'd be 2 spaces in the middle. So again, I can tell by the spacing which number is which. And what I want you to do is just be able to see that and respond to the number, and don't actually count with your eyeball, and don't worry about it, okay? Just let it happen, okay? So I'm going to throw something up there, and then I want you to just tell me what it is. 5, okay?
7.
Everyone. 7. See that?
7.
Also a 7.
7.
7.
3.
3.
7.
7. 5. Small. 3. Really big. Kind of in the middle. Kind of tiny. Real tiny. Pretty damn big. Huge. Still big. I can almost get into it. Way too much. Can you see what I'm getting at? So I just want you to see the size and then just say the number. And you'll notice that as we get into this, you're going to stop thinking about it. You'll find that when you try to think about it, it'll get in the way and give you the wrong answer. When you don't think about it at all, you'll be right. Until I can flash through these faster than I can turn them, and you get them right. And then by that time, you're getting 100%. Okay, that's a 5.
3.
3.
5.
5.
3.
Third.
3.
Third.
3.
Third.
3.
Third.
5.
5.
5.
That's a fifth.
5.
5. Was
3.
3.
7.
7.
7. 7. 7. 3. 7. 5. 3. 7. 5. 3. 3. 7. 7. 7. 5. 7. 5. 3. 5. 3. 3. 5. No. 3. 3. 5. 5. 5. 5. 3. 7. 5. 7. 7.
And 6 more 7s. I'm going to shuffle these a little. You see what I'm getting at? You notice that the faster you go, the less you think. And if you can repress the thinking altogether, you'll get it 100%. Really, this is a case where the ego gets in the way. We have to let the right brain, which can size something and instantly, just like a carpenter, and can recognize it. Once we start to recognize that distance, we just say it. We don't have to think about it. And if you think about it, that intellectualness takes time, delays you. And you get, by the way, this is Sylvia Brown said, that's the secret to being intuitive. And if someone asks you a question, the first thing that occurs to you is probably the correct answer. But what we always do being human beings is we start to modify our own internal dialogue. And we say, somebody says, will I die? And you say, yes, you'll die tomorrow. But you don't want to say that. So in your head you go, well, but maybe then, and all these doubts come in. And what happens is you keep modifying that impulse until finally the thing that we say is socially acceptable, but now it's not true. So she said one of the secrets to being a psychic is, one, you must suffer your own honesty. You must suffer your own honesty. No matter what comes into your head, whether it's socially acceptable or not, chances are. And the other thing is, can you say the first thing that occurs to you for real, without modifying it in some way or another? And you'll find that's the hardest thing in the world to do. But she claimed, and I agree with her, that once you do that, the right brain is speaking, the right brain always has the answer, and it always knows what's right. And you'd be surprised that a lot of people accuse me of being psychic and sicking. I'm definitely sicking. But some people have accused me of being psychic or intuitive because I do the same thing. Someone will come in the door and say, Mr. Natural, I have a printer for you that I have out in my car that I want to give to you. And I'll say to him, no, I don't want that printer. I want the copy machine you have in your the back seat of your car. And he'll look at me like, well, I never met you, and I just can't, how do you know that? And I go, I don't know that, but that occurred to me, and that's what I want. And sure enough, they have, the copy machine sitting in their back seat of their car. They give it to me. It's quite freaky.